Hi, I'm Zen and welcome to this video on how to optimize an image for a website and why you should. And I have to say, the results of what we're going to do today are really surprising. So let's get into it. All right, as always, we've got a little bit of housekeeping to do. So if you didn't already know, this video is obviously part of the Into the Wild Easy Build series. If you haven't watched the other videos, it might be a good idea to do so. And the link for the series should be appearing right about now in the corner. If you're completely new to this channel but want to have the same setup as me, then please look at the Getting Started series link, which should also be shown up about now. And that will also sort you out with a local web server and pen drive applications. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. You didn't hurt my feelings and I've still got your back. The resources that you need to follow along with for this video are in the description below, which are the site files and the unsplashed images. And there's even a HTML version of the index page if you don't want to play about with the PHP stuff. If you've already followed along and have done the last video, then you have all the images that we need already for this video. So as usual, I'm going to explain why we are going to do this. So this is the website we have built in the series so far. And as you can see, as we scroll through it, it lags a little bit. And the main reason for that is the size of the images that we are using. We can see just using the Explorer that it is 26.6 megs are just for the 10 images that we are using on the site. And this, in case you didn't know, is quite a lot, especially for a single page with, if we're honest, not much going on in it. Now, to be clear, you should always work with the highest resolution images where possible, but you should then optimize it for the desired platform. In fact, in one of the later videos, we will be looking at having different resolution images for the best of responsive design. You see, what we have to remember is that not everybody will have a fast internet connection. It's easy to forget when living in the UK and other countries where only about 10% of people have less than a 10 megabit connection at home, and Virgin currently is rolling out 500 megabit connections across the UK, that there are still many places in the world that are not as lucky as us. Now, the internet connection has greatly improved over the years, but there's still many places in the world whose connection is not reliable and is, well, compared to us, slow. And not only that though, mobile phones and mobile internet is a huge part. And although we have 5G rolling out across the UK and across the world, and 4G is almost everywhere, many people, including myself, have monthly download limits. So minimizing the impact on their plan may well keep them happy and coming back to your site. And also, even when localized on our machine, like this page, the browser does sometimes struggle trying to keep up with it. So enough talk about it. Let's see it in actual action. Chrome has a network simulation in the developer's console, which of course is F12 in the browser. And then what we're going to do is make sure we're on the network tab. We're going to select disable cache. We're then going to go from here to drop down and we're going to select fast 3G to simulate a fast mobile phone connection or pre-4G connector. And then all we're going to do here is press refresh and then we're just going to wait. And here we are 2.6 minutes later. Okay, we're talking about 2.5 minutes for this page to download at the 3G speeds. But okay, but what about if this is at home? Okay, so you're in a house, obviously, or flat, whatever, and you've got a 16 meg connection. Well, we can actually simulate this as well. Come down here into custom. You see I've already got a 3 meg one there. I'm going to add custom, and so I'm going to put in 16 megabits there. Remember, our internet connections are done in megabits, not megabytes. So it's going to be 16,834 megabits. I'm going to add that. Close this down. We can change to 16 meg. And again, we keep the variable plan so it simulates a first time use and refresh. And as we can see, this is a lot faster, but this is a relative term. Because as we can see, it still took 13.5 seconds for it to download in a 16 meg environment. Okay, so this is still way too long. Okay, and people just aren't gonna hang about waiting for, you know, almost 15 seconds for the website to download. And of course, you can look at it at 8 meg, it should be at least twice this number, and so on. And so this is why we need to optimize our graphics. So let's have a quick talk about bitmap optimization, because even though everyone's heard this term bitmap optimization, it does need to be explained. So there are essentially 3 ways to optimize an image. These are the dimensions of the image, the file type of the image, and the quality of the image. The first resizing is important for bitmap or raster style images, as the more pixels in the image, the greater the file size will be, as the color data is required for each pixel that the image holds. So making the image smaller means less pixels, so smaller file size. In case you're wondering, it's pointless for SVG style graphics, as it scales with no increase or decrease in file size. File type is the next one, and this can make a huge difference. The different file type stores the data of the image differently and more efficiently. So in raster images, generally speaking, in order of decreasing file size, it goes bitmap, the BMP format, PNG, then JPEG, and then WebP. Finally, we have the quality. And this has been a trade-off with JPEGs for a long time. We can sacrifice the quality of an image to reduce the file size, and it is a real judgment call on how much quality you're willing to sacrifice to ensure a small file size but make it still look nice. It's worth pointing out that the WebP format can also do lossy compression. In other words, it can reduce the quality of the image to reduce the file size. The current trend at the moment is to convert images destined for the internet into the WebP format. That is WEBP format, but it's actually pronounced as WebP. This is a fairly new standard created by Google, well, after they brought out the On Technologies company. When we say new, they announced it in 2010, but it didn't really reach, I think it was version 1 until something like 2019. Now, as of 2021, 93% of the browsers actually support the WebP standard, and that means that all of the major browsers do. WebP was built specifically or designed specifically for the internet as an alternative to PNG and JPEG files. Unfortunately, the ability to convert images into WebP and optimize them online for free at the moment is a bit scarce. There are some apps you can download that will do it for you, but I'm trying to keep this usable for everyone, so I'm looking at online systems only. I imagine that as the years progress, there will be more and more of them available on the internet. However, the 2 services that I have found that seem to work fine that also allow the resizing of the image are onlineconvert.com and cloudconvert.com. So the first thing we're going to do is use the online convert site. So here we are on the onlineconvert.com website. And the first thing we're going to do is come over here and select the target format, which is WebP, and select Go. So as you can see, we are able to drop down an image here. So we're just going to drag the first image and drop it in. And then what's quite handy, as you can see down here, is that we do have a whole bunch of settings. And this is very important when we're looking at changing the size, which is what we want to do here. So the first one I've dropped in was the first image, and that is one of the large card images. That's this one here. So if we have a look at this on Figma, we can see that the image should be 440 across and 650 high. The trick here is to only put in one value, the value in which the restriction will be met first when it's been shrunk down with the aspect ratio. So for this image, it will be the height that will hit the limitation first. So we're going to put the value 650 into the second box here, which will be the height. As you can see, there are other options that we can use, such as dropping it down to grey or monochrome, as well as reducing the DPI. We're not going to do any of that. We're going to leave all of these as they are, and we're just going to go into conversion. We saw there that the image was originally 3.92 meg, and it actually dropped out at 51.84 kilobytes. That is a huge saving. And of course, we need to be able to download it. So it is possible for us to be able to convert 3 images at once just by selecting them and dragging them in. Since our images have different sizes that we need to move them to, that causes a problem because we can only do one setting for all of the images being converted. So we have to do them one by one. So the next image we're going to do is the hue tone one, which is this one here. And then if we compare that onto our website, we can see it is one of these smaller ones. Here it is, which is a 300 by 200 ratio. And for that, I believe it is the width that is the issue. So we are going to put 300 into here and start the conversion. We go back. The next one is this one here with a width of 390 and a height of 520. If you remember when we actually did this, the problem with this one was the width. Okay, if you remember, it did a slight tiling effect. So we want to put 390 on the width here. And again, we just download it. So the next one, as we can see, will be the wolf one. Again, we just download that one. Next one is the Jonathan Farage one, or Forage. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce his surname. And again, we have a quick look at that. And we can see it's one of the camping ones. That's this one here. So again, we assume it's going to be the width. That is going to be the issue here first. So convert it and download. Okay, so that's quite a few that we've done on online convert. Let's have a look at cloudconvert. So cloudconvert is a similar process. However, there is a time limit on this site for its use when it's a free non-signed up account. And so if you actually upload an image, the timer literally starts then. It actually expired on me before I started the conversion, as I went to another site first to look at other solutions. By the time I came back, it told me my time had expired. However, you can sign up for free. There are paid versions, obviously. You can sign up for free and you'll get to do 25 conversions a day, which is more than enough for the average person. So I'll just quickly sign in. So we've got to select a file. So let's do that first. And we have the Carl image is the next one. And this is the Carl image. So let's see what this looks like on the site. So we can see it's this one here. So the concern here is the width of 300. But first we need to set the convert to WebP. And then we can click on the spanner and we can put in the width of 300. As you can see, there's an engine option as well as a good one to strip out metadata. Okay, so remove any GPS information and the rest we'll leave alone until we okay that. Now with this one, we can actually add additional images and have settings for each image. So we shall do that. So the next one here will be the Nathan image. This one, as we see, is the waterfall. And so for this one, it's a height restriction of 520 that we're interested in. So height 520. Add the next one. So the next one is room, which is this one, which is actually the large card. So it's a height of 650 that we're concerned about. Now, I think you can actually do up to 5 at a time. However, I have noticed that it can sometimes lag a bit more if you do more than 3. So we're just going to keep it at 3 and convert. As you can see, the room one's taking a little while to be done. So it looks here as if the room one is just hanging. So we'll download the first 2. And what we'll do is that we'll cancel room and then retry it. Okay, so that one's now done, so we can download. And then we've got the last 2, which is saying with a height of 800 and the tin one with a width of 300. So here are our 10 images that we've had optimized. Obviously, we need to move them now into the website folder, into the images folder of our website. So here we have them moved over, and it's very clear the difference in sizes of each image. There are some massive changes to the file sizes. The next step is to actually swap out these images in the website itself. So that's quite straightforward. So due to the way the name system's been done, the names are actually identical apart from the changing of the JPEG to the WebP extension, which means that's all we need to do in our links as well. Now, in the index page itself, there are actually only 2 places for it in a large card. So this one here, and in the second large card, which is here. So we save that, and then we go into the CSS files, and of course we'll start off in the card CSS. Now there are 7 images in here, 3 on the medium and 4 on the small. So we just need to update those. So they are now all done on the cards, and all that's left is the one in the slideshow here. So now we've done that, what we need to do is to go and reload the page and see it. Because this change is very dramatic, I'm actually going to load this from scratch. Okay, so we're going to go into site now, and boom. See how quick that is. The entire page downloaded in a blink of an eye. It is pretty much amazing. So let's use the network tool to see how good it really is. So let's start off with going into the 16 meg. Okay, remember we have disabled cache, and let's refresh it. Look at that, 461 milliseconds, less than half a second it took for it to download. That's how fast it is. So what was it like on the 3G? Now, if you remember on 3G last time, on fast 3G, it was 2.5 minutes. This will definitely be faster. See it's happening down here. Here we can see it's roughly 5.25 seconds. That is a dramatic change from 2.5 minutes. And if we actually do a, quick look here, we can see that the actual website is now only 734 kilobytes. Okay, remember, and I've got the original one up here from the last one to remind ourselves on this. Just refresh it. This one's got no throttling, but we can see it's 28.3 megs. So we've gone from 28.3 megs down to 734 kilobytes. That is roughly 40 times smaller. Okay, and if we look at the breakdown even more, what we'll actually see here is that 312 kilobytes of this 734, just under half of the actual file size, or the entire download size, is now actually our fonts. So that is such a dramatic difference. It is unbelievable. So it's very clear by doing this image optimization, it has a massive impact. And you also should note on your own site how much more easier and fluid it is just scrolling up and down, because now the browser's dealing with a lot less data to handle. There's none of this sort of half loading we sometimes got on these bigger ones. It felt a little bit more clunky as we were moving. There you go, see a half load there, whereas that's not a problem with this one. It'll just do it, no problem. In fact, it's worth noticing that all of the 10 images that we have now optimized combined, they are smaller than the smallest image that we had, okay, before optimization. However, as always, there's some caveats, and I do want to cover this. I want to make it clear that the reason why the image sizes are so small, as in the tens of kilobytes, is a combination of the images being resized more appropriately and a conversion to the WebP format. However, I have to be fair and say that the resizing of the images has the biggest impact than the conversion itself. To prove this, I actually converted all the images again from JPEG into WebP, but without resizing them. So here's the page to demonstrate that. You can see we're still using WebP files, okay? And in fact, if we open it up in the Explorer, we can actually see the conversions here. So like I say, these are a straight for straight conversion. Now on the whole, the files are smaller. And in fact, if we actually look at here, we can see we've gone to 21.7 meg, which is roughly a 25% saving. However, it's also important to note that on the first one here, David Gavi one, it actually increased from 4 meg to 4.8 meg. Okay, so that is actually a 25% increase in file size. And again, for full disclosure, I also took the David image here and I put it through a JPEG compression program, and I was also resized it whilst I was recompressing it. So I resized it down to 650 pixels in height. I was able to get it out with a smaller file size than what we are currently using with the WebP. Now, to be fair to the WebP one, we haven't had the ability yet to optimize the image, but I was actually able to get a JPEG image down to something in a region of about 40 kilobytes. So again, 20% smaller than what we did with the WebP, and that JPEG file will still had an acceptable level of quality to be used. So I say it's not as straightforward as the video actually fully makes out, but I want to do a full disclosure here. But I do believe part of this is because we are still a good few years away before WebP image format is more fully utilized both in web design and outside of the browser. And when it happens, there will be a lot more editing tools, converters and optimizers out there, and the WebP format may even have progressed a bit past version 1.0, and I think at that point we will find even better compressions, and maybe WebP will become a de facto standard. And due to this, at a later date, I will do a proper showdown between all of the different file types, including different types of compressions and the qualities between them. And then we'll be able to see if WebP truly is the king of internet images. So the takeout to this for me is this: I do believe WebP is the way forward, and I do recommend people do use the conversion software. If you're doing it online, there are quite a few places which will allow you to do it online and actually do quality changes and size changes, but for a fee. As we saw, the two websites we used, cloudconvert one does sometimes have small delays, but both of the sites were very good and very straightforward to use. And the final thing is, what should we do with these old files? Okay, I do not recommend that you throw away, you delete these JPEGs. Please do put them somewhere safe that you can go to when you need them. Create a folder called resources for this particular website and dump the images in there. That way we will be able to go back to the images and re-optimize them for when we need them later on. And with that said, my job here is indeed done. So as always, thank you for staying with me all the way. If there's a video you want me to do, or if you want a shout out in one of the future videos, or want to ask me anything, please whack it in the comment section, as I do read every one. I think I've already said this before, but I'll say it again. Please like and subscribe to my videos. Please put a comment below there. I'll see you guys next time. This is Zen, signing off.